The movie opens in New Orleans. Michelle, a fashion designer, quickly packs her bag and leaves her home, leaving behind her keys and a valuable diamond ring. Worried, she drives away from the city. Later, at a gas station, she notices a strange truck parked behind her car, but chooses to ignore it. While driving, her ex-fiancé Ben calls and begs her to come back, but Michelle refuses to talk. They had a heated argument that made her leave as soon as possible. Frustrated with his voice, Michelle hangs up and turns on the radio. It seems to me that Ben really made her upset. She learns about a citywide blackout caused by a power surge. Before she can answer Ben's call again, something hits her car, causing it to crash off the road. This must be better than talking to Ben again. When she regains consciousness, she finds herself in a small concrete room with a hurt leg chained to the wall. The power suddenly goes on and off, and despite her efforts, Michelle is unable to free herself from the chains. Michelle cries, feeling lost and scared. She doesn't want to be helpless, so she uses the IV stand to reach her phone from the other side of the room. She manages to get it, but there's no signal. She hears loud steps from behind the wall. Michelle hides under a blanket, waiting for the person who captured her. A big man comes in, holding a tray of food and a gun on his belt. Michelle begs for her life, but the man doesn't respond. He just fixes her IV bag. Doesn't seem to be the worst kidnapper. The man, named Howard, says he only wants to keep her alive. He gives her crutches and tells her to learn how to walk with them. Michelle lies, saying her fiancé will call the police. Howard confidently says no one is searching for her and throws her the key to the chains. As soon as he leaves, Michelle unlocks herself and gets dressed. She tries to open the door, but it's locked. Wanting to escape, she uses the key to make a sharp point on her crutch. She opens a vent in her room and sets her shirt on fire, creating enough smoke to set off the alarm and make Howard come back. Ready to fight, she waits by the door and attacks him. Howard catches Michelle and injects something into her arm. When she wakes up, she's still in the same room, but there's food for her. Howard admires her bravery and explains that he saved her from a car accident. He claims there might have been a nuclear attack, but they're safe in his bunker. If you feel like Howard is a nice guy, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Michelle tries to gain his empathy by thanking him, but insists on going to the hospital. This angers Howard, who says the outside air is polluted and it will take a long time before it's safe to leave. Michelle wants to call her family, but Howard believes everyone outside is dead. They hear a noise indicating another person is in the bunker. Howard locks Michelle in the room again and deals with the new person. In a few hours, Michelle wakes up and discovers the door is open. She steps out and finds a corridor filled with supplies. She meets Emmett, another person living there who has an injured arm. Michelle talks to him about escaping, but Emmett also believes the air outside is polluted. Howard finds them and explains that the noise they heard was Emmett dropping a week's worth of food. He shows them the common area, with entertainment options like DVDs, books, and other things. Not a bad setup. Howard establishes several rules. One of them forbids them from touching anything. He shows Michelle his personal room, which has the shelter's only bathroom, and asks her to take a shower. Although Michelle deserves privacy, Howard remains near the door because he still doesn't trust her. While preparing food, Howard mentions Megan, indicating that she is no longer present. When the power fluctuates, Michelle speculates that it might be caused by a car above them. However, Howard insists there is no one above them. In order to convince Michelle, he takes her to an exit with a window looking outside. There, Michelle observes Howard's decomposing pigs, which he claims died due to the toxic air. Michelle spots Howard's truck across the field and recalls the moments before her accident, becoming increasingly suspicious that it was the same truck that caused her crash. She begins to doubt Howard's intentions. Emmett shares information about Howard, revealing that he used to work on military satellites before moving to the farm where they built the shelter. Michelle suggests that Howard purposely caused her car accident to abduct her, but Emmett dismisses this theory. He mentions witnessing an explosion on the day he entered the shelter. Emmett believed in Howard's predictions of an ongoing apocalypse and fought to secure a spot in the shelter, injuring his arm in the process. Michelle mentions hearing a car above the shelter, but Howard interrupts her and suggests they have dinner. Michelle becomes anxious at the dinner table, wondering if Howard overheard her comment. You don't want to be on Howard's bad side. Emmett tries to have a friendly conversation to lighten the mood, which comforts Michelle but makes Howard mad. Howard grows angry at Emmett's attempt of trying to make a positive mood, but hides his emotions, simply asking them to have a quiet meal. Noticing how easily Howard gets annoyed, Michelle makes a plan. She starts paying more attention to Emmett, pretending to flirt with him. Howard becomes very jealous and mad. Upon witnessing Michelle touch Emmett's hand, Howard slams the table and corners Michelle, accusing her of being disrespectful. Emmett attempts to calm Howard down, but he is also frightened by him. Once they resume sitting, Michelle secretly hides keys in her hand, which she took from Howard. The sound of a car above them captures everyone's attention. As she sees an opportunity, Michelle grabs a bottle and hits Howard in the face with it. She climbs onto the table and heads towards the shelter's exit. Her hands are shaking as she unlocks the door. Howard barely walks up the steps, trying to grab her at the last second before she opens the door and shuts it behind her. She begins to open the second door, but notices a car in front of her. Michelle finally feels hopeful. She starts shouting for help while continuing to unlock the door. Suddenly, a woman covered in sores pounds on the door, yelling at Michelle to let her in. Howard shouts at Michelle not to open the door. Michelle starts to trust Howard's story and stops her escape. She gets scared when a woman outside hits her head on the door. After this, she's put back in a concrete room. Howard says he accidentally hit her car while rushing to his bunker because of an attack. He then gives her some clothes that belong to Megan. After she showers, Howard says the woman outside was Leslie, a neighbor who might have known about his bunker. Michelle stitches up a wound on Howard's face. Howard gives her stuff from her car and talks about his daughter Megan, who was taken by her mother to Chicago. Emmett tells Michelle that he got into Louisiana Tech University for his running skills, but didn't go because he was scared of failing. Michelle shares a story about her protective brother and her regret of not helping out a girl in a similar situation. Emmett comforts her, saying their lives matter because they're alive. They get used to living underground. One day, the bunker shakes, they hear helicopters, and the power flickers. Howard thinks it might be enemies or the military. An alarm sounds because their air system is blocked. Michelle is asked to fix it through the vents. She's relieved when it works again. She then sees a ladder to a hatch outside and the word "help" scratched on the window. Michelle finds an earring that looks like one in a photo of a girl named Brittany who disappeared 2 years ago. The earring has blood on it. She shows Emmett the earring in the photo. She also shows him the word "help" scratched in a room. They find another photo of Brittany with Howard. Brittany's shirt is the same as Michelle's. Emmett wants to make Howard admit what he did to Brittany. Michelle wonders who Howard can confess to since it's just them. Howard tells Michelle to shower. While preparing, Michelle gets an idea from the shower curtain. She shows Emmett a drawing and convinces him to help her. That night, Emmett takes scissors from the kitchen. He tells Howard that Michelle might have left skid marks in his bathroom. Howard throws out the shower curtain, but Michelle secretly keeps it. She uses stuff in the bunker to make a suit that can potentially protect them from the contaminated atmosphere. This suit could let one of them go outside and get help. During a game, Emmett gets upset, making Howard suspicious. Michelle continues to work on the suit and hides it when Howard comes. They move a barrel from the kitchen to Howard's room. Howard says the barrel's acid can melt a lot of things, including humans. He asks about his tools and threatens to melt them in acid if they try to lie to him. Emmett lies that he took the tools to make a weapon without Michelle knowing. He tells Howard he wanted Michelle to like him like she likes Howard. He apologizes, and Howard accepts it, then shoots Emmett. Michelle freaks out. Howard tells her that Emmett would have hurt her and asks her to go to her room while he deals with Emmett's body. Alone, Michelle mourns Emmett and looks at his ID. Howard returns with a fresh-shaved beard and gives Michelle ice cream. She finds Emmett's university bus ticket and decides to continue their plan alone. She works on the protective suit until dinner. She hides the gas mask she made when Howard comes in. A screw falls from the vent, making Howard suspicious. He finds part of the suit under her bed, gets angry, and discovers the suit. Michelle locks him in the room, searches it, and takes a chemical coolant. When Howard tries to stop her, she kicks a barrel of acid at him, causing him to feel terrible pain. Michelle escapes from Howard when a fire starts. An alarm goes off and she gets her protective suit and mask. Howard, who is half burnt, tries to reach her. She blocks him with a shelf and climbs over it. The fire blocks the bunker exit. Michelle goes into the vent to escape through a hatch. Howard hears her and stabs a knife into the vent. He grabs her foot, but she kicks until she gets free. In the mechanical room, she quickly puts on the suit and seals it with tape. She goes to the hatch and uses the coolant to freeze the lock. After many tries, she breaks it and opens the hatch. Michelle gets above ground, breathes hard, and looks for signs of life. She finds Howard's old truck and gets in, but she rips her suit. She fixes it with tape, worried about the poisonous atmosphere. She hears birds and realizes the air isn't bad. Maybe Howard was lying the whole time. She risks it by removing her mask, and nothing bad happens. She feels relief and starts laughing. She hears a distant noise, climbs in the truck, and sees an aircraft. She sees movement in a shed, thinks it's Howard, and hides. The bunker explodes and the aircraft turns towards it. As it nears, she realizes it's not from Earth and that, plot twist, Howard was right the whole time. The old man wasn't crazy and just wanted to enjoy a nice dinner this whole time. She can't find the truck's keys, so she tries Leslie's car but triggers the alarm. She hides in the shed and finds Leslie's dead body. She sees a creature approaching from the field. She searches Leslie's body for keys as the creature walks into the shed. Michelle gets the keys, turns off the alarm, and runs into a house. The alien chases her. They stop when they hear a noise. The alien's aircraft is behind the house. Michelle puts on her mask when she sees it releasing gas. The gas causes an explosion. The creature attacks when Michelle stands up. She gets in the truck but can't close the door. The creature takes her mask and leaves. The aircraft lifts the truck. Michelle feels hopeless but gets an idea. She makes a Molotov cocktail with a lighter and a liquor bottle. She throws it into the creature's mouth when it opens. The alien explodes, the truck falls, and the aircraft crashes and burns. Now that's what I call quick thinking. Michelle wakes up, leaves the truck, and takes a moment to understand what just happened. She finds Leslie's undamaged car, gets in, and is glad it works. She starts driving and hits a mailbox labeled 10 Cloverfield. The radio gets a signal telling survivors to go to Baton Rouge, and those with medical or combat skills to go to Houston. At a crossroad, while thinking about which way to go, Michelle chooses to go to Houston to help. The moral of the story is that it divides audiences but fits with the film's themes of fear and regret, as Michelle overcomes one form of prison to face a new unknown threat. And that sometimes you should just keep your mouth shut when the family is trying to enjoy a nice cooked meal. Thank you, and see you in the next video.